Welcome to the Duke Trap Studios, home of the Keystone Experience, brought to you by Creek Archery. Find your passion, then hunt it down. Hillview Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Remember, Hillview has it. Apparition Scent, 100% lethal. Chico Outdoors Incorporated. What's going on, everybody? Hey, I got a special guest with me this evening. I got Mr. Dan Sneath from Hunter Nation. What's going on, buddy? It's been a while.
It has been, Rob. We did a podcast, a couple months ago, and then we ran into each other down at the outdoor show and decided we should do another one real soon. So.
Yep. So, Hunter Nation, let's. How did you get involved with this?
Well, Hunter Nation, we're a national organization with multiple state chapters. Of course, I'm here in Pennsylvania, so I'm in the Pennsylvania state chapter. How this all got started with me, back in 2023, got in some discussions with some guys, sending some emails, starting to talk to legislators about hunting issues. Namely, the Saturday versus Monday deer opener was the big issue. Few other things were coming up at the time, but that was the big issue. A couple people started talking to legislators from Hunter Nation, and they started hearing my name because of some of the stuff I was sending in emails. I'm a little more articulate sometimes in emails than some people are. And again, no offense to anybody, but my emails contained a lot of content that made people say, wow, this guy has some information here. Started talking to these guys from Hunter Nation. Again, nothing was solid. It was just, hey, what are you doing? What do you know? And I told him. And at the time, I've been retired from the Pennsylvania State Police for almost 4 years. And it was about it. And then around the beginning of 2024, when the Sunday hunting stuff was really getting hot and heavy, the last legislative session to allow the Game Commission to have full control of Sundays during their seasons and bag limits, there were some questions about trespass laws. Well, after 27 and a half years with the state police, I kind of have a grasp on how trespass laws work and how they're enforced. I was asked to kind of join in because even the legislators and the Game Commission needed some help on understanding it a little better, and I was able to talk to legislators a little better. So that's what I was asked to do. The next thing I know, full-blown, the guy that everyone's coming to asking about Sunday hunting and all these other issues that were going on that Hunter Nation was involved in. And that was fine. We got Sunday hunting done then. It kind of stalled out in 2024. We picked up 2025. I made some new relationships with the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, some other hunting organizations, and some other NGOs. And we all carried that ball right across the finish line. And then in July of 2025, the governor signed the bill, and I was invited to be the speaker. That was the only non-government person to speak. There was the governor, there was Secretary Redding, Secretary of Agriculture, Representative Mandy Steele, Executive Director Steve Smith, and myself. So I was kind of pleased with that. I was kind of happy that somebody, the people in power recognized the work we had done. And then from there, I just kept going with Hunter Nation. They made me one of the state directors. There's another state director. His name is John Bingaman. John has a full-time job that he has to dedicate his life to. He helps me as we can go along. Again, I'm retired. So the work I do with Hunter Nation, I have a lot more time to fulfill the, all the niches and all the things that we do for Hunter Nation, as far as being down in the Capitol, talking about our hunting heritage, talking about what's important to hunters in Pennsylvania. Again, we're a national organization, and we have people that lobby down in Harrisburg. We have people that lobby in other states about hunting issues. But when it comes to Pennsylvania, all of us that are involved in Hunter Nation here in Pennsylvania, our core group, we are all Pennsylvanians, and we're all from Pennsylvania. So we understand what Pennsylvania sportsmen are talking about.
Well, I had met you through Miss Steele when we did the podcast there, after her and some other of the representatives had gotten us over that hurdle to get the Sunday huntings. And I try to tell everybody, the two people that worked the hardest on that was Mandy Steele, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I can't remember how to say his last name. The representative that the other
Senator Laughlin from Erie.
Yeah, and then there was the other Democratic guy from he was an out-of-stater, then he moved to PA. Oh, geez. Why am I drawing a blank? Anyhow, I tell everybody it was two people from the Democratic Party that helped us get this across the board.
Are you thinking about Senator Malone?
That might be it. He's a transplant. He was
very pivotal in helping us get this done.
Yeah.
I would almost go out on a limb and say that Senator Malone helped us get this through the committee vote in the Senate. He was probably the pivotal vote on it in the Senate, which then allowed it to move forward in the Senate. Again, other people, Senator Laughlin, Senator Rothman, a lot of people worked with us to get this done.
Right.
Yes, Senator Malone was definitely a pivotal person in getting this done for us.
Yeah, so now we got the Sunday huntings, and I know me and you are friends on Facebook, and you see me all the time with the podcast. I kind of poke the bear all the time about the Saturday opener and the Monday opener, and me personally, to get down straight to it, I am a hunter. So to me, it doesn't matter if they start the season on the second Wednesday of December. I'm going to be there hunting. That don't matter to me when the opening day is. I understand what guys want, but times have changed. We don't have that no more. It's not this old tradition. We don't have the older gentlemen anymore at the camps. Things are moving on, and we need to get the kids involved. And if everybody knew the real reason why the opening day was on Monday, they'd be shocked. Nobody knows the real reason, because the Game Commission didn't want you to kill deer. That's why it was opening on a Monday. That was the whole reason for it. So people need to do a little bit of homework.
If you also think back, Rob, too, when they started on the Monday, but prior to that, it had been December 1st, was always the opening day, unless it fell on a Sunday. So if you think about it, if they opened deer season on Saturday, we didn't have Sunday hunting then. So now you had 1 day of hunting, a day of no hunting, and then we went into the season.
Yep.
So with that and the fact that there was a concern over the deer population at the time, because this was 1963 whenever they changed it. That's what people forget about. It wasn't last year. It was 1963. And there were different standards then and different biological things they were looking at. And the woods were different. Everything was different in Pennsylvania. So I agree with you. We don't know, and we don't have all that information because it's now, 60 years later plus, and we don't have all those notes from those meetings.
Right.
So I get the traditional crowd. I'm 59 myself. I grew up with the Monday opener. I always planned my stuff around that because that's what I did. But I'm like you, I'm a hunter. They could tell me it was opening the Thursday after Thanksgiving. I'm going to be there.
Yep.
But there's people that don't have that luxury. And that was the idea with the change, was to provide more people the opportunity to be out on the first day. And now that we got Sunday hunting, that just makes it completely different for people. And when I hear the arguments about, well, kids are still off school on Monday, which they are. The local school district here where I live at is off Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
It still doesn't matter to me, because now what we're saying is, rather than those kids having 1 or 2 days off to hunt, now they got 3 or 4 days to hunt.
Yep.
That's a lot better than 1 or 2 days.
Yep.
And back in the day when it was, people were off Monday and that was it. So you went to camp, spent the weekend doing whatever. And again, I'm not going to disparage what people did at camp or what they still do at camp. That's their life, whatever they want. But when we had that Monday opener, so kids off school, they go to camp or whatever they do. They got Monday to hunt, and then they got to leave Monday afternoon to go back home so they can be in school on Tuesday.
Yep.
This is just affording more people more opportunity to be in the woods without taxing the rest of their life. So
exactly. So we'll
stop.
It's
funny today, Rob. I was looking A friend of mine on Facebook, you were talking about Facebook, and he's an older gentleman. He made a post today. I think it was 1968, where the picture was from. He was holding and posing with a spring gobbler he killed that year. That was the first year we held a spring gobbler season in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
You know what? You want to know what day that was? May 6th. That was the first day of spring gobbler season in 1968 when we first started spring gobbler season.
All right.
You want to know what day of the week that was?
Probably a Monday or Tuesday.
It was a Monday. They started the season on a Monday. Exact same logic for what we were just talking about with the Monday deer opener. They wanted less people in the woods because they didn't want to kill the turkeys too quickly, and they didn't know what the effect was going to be.
Right.
So they chose a Monday. My belief, again, I wasn't there in their meetings. My belief, though, was we're going to give guys this season. We're going to start it on a Monday to see what happens.
Right.
So I just found that post interesting. And it was a beautiful bird to see this guy killed. He's probably 85 years old now, and he's sitting there just proud as can be with this bird he killed the first day of the season, the first year we had a spring gobbler season in Pennsylvania.
Well, see, that right there to me, the older gentlemen, the pitchers, stuff like that, that shows us the history of how this is evolving over the years. We've said this a million times. I have on here. I back the officers from the Game Commission up 100%. I agree with a lot of the legislators that put laws in for the Game Commission. I disagree with a lot of them. I will always back the officers because the officers have a job to do. They don't make the laws. So I know people that get mad at them at these shows and they go to the booth and they stand there and argue with them and everything. Hey, they're not the guys who did it. You guys voted these people in that are making the laws for this. And them saying that they want, like I heard a guy on Facebook not too long ago saying that they ought to turn it all over to the government. Are you crazy? You turn the Game Commission over to the government and you're going to have New Jersey, Colorado, California. You're not going to be allowed to hunt. What is wrong with these people? The government gets involved. You get screwed in the long run. I mean,
yeah, we definitely have an issue there in Pennsylvania where certain people want a lot more legislative, a lot more elected official involvement in the Game Commission, which, again, you don't have to agree with everything the commissioners do,
right,
or what is proposed to them, and they put into regulatory action. But those regulations can be turned if they need to be. When we start getting into legislative things, that takes a little bit. It took 50 years to get Sunday hunting currently, the modern movement to get Sunday hunting repealed. It took 50 years to do that.
Yep.
So, I understand. And again, I'm not bashing anybody who has a different belief or a different vision of where they think things should be. Completely understand. But let's not get to the point where we're putting our hunting heritage in a position where we could lose it.
Yes. And I don't know. That whole thing but that's not what we're going to talk about the rest of this podcast because I
get it again. But my least favorite subject to talk about is the opening day of deer season because all it does is causes an argument.
Yeah.
I'm proud of Sunday hunting.
Yes.
I still am. We have that now fully implemented by the Game Commission for all open seasons, other than waterfowl migratory bird seasons.
Right.
If you don't mind, I want to touch on that a little bit to everybody.
Sure.
Whether you agree with or don't agree with having Sunday hunting for waterfowl migratory birds, please, I'm going to say it, please let the Game Commission know. Go on their website. Go to the comments to the commissioners. Let them know what you want. That's where they're taking that information from. They're looking at the comments and saying, we don't have an overwhelming amount one way or the other, so we're just going to leave it like it is until we see how things work out. So if people want to change and they want to include Sundays, completely understandable. I'm not going to advocate one way or the other on that one. I'm any more of the casual waterfowler. I'm not the hardcore waterfowler that I used to be. And I completely understand the hardcore guys.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. They want to be in the woods or on the water whenever those flights are happening. And while it still remains, we have 60 days of waterfowl season, is how those 60 days are distributed.
Right.
So again, I'm not going to advocate one way or the other on that issue, but I would really encourage the folks that are impacted by it to let the commissioners know one way or the other what they want.
Yeah, you have to get on there and talk to them and let them know, because I was at that meeting down at Youngwood Sportsman's Club not too long ago when all them guys were there. And that's what they were saying. They were saying they look more at the comments on there to see what guys want. And they explained that the same way you just did. We get 60 days allotted for waterfowl season. I hunt waterfowl. Always have.
Right.
I would rather see turkey season get the Sundays and leave the waterfowl alone for now. Let the feds handle that the way they always do, and let them give us our 60 days that they give us. And see, because some of the bird populations are down in the numbers that I'm seeing. And I talked to some biologists. I talked to a lot of biologists, and the numbers I'm seeing and the number they're seeing, kind of, we got to let it play out in the birds. Let the birds show us what we should be doing,
Right.
The turkey thing, take the second tag away. I'm perfectly happy giving up my second tag so that we can hunt them on Sundays. That's fine with me.
And we'll see how that plays out, too.
Right.
We may get 2 or 3 years, 4 years into this. They may be looking at the harvest numbers and say, we can sustain having the second tag again.
Yep.
But until we know that, because of the number of people that we're going to have now being able to hunt spring gobbler, who knows where we're going to be. So I completely get why they did that.
Yep.
It's more opportunities for more people. While it is kind of taking some opportunities away from other people because they don't have the second tag, I get it. I understand the complaint from some guys. But like I said, I don't think this is a permanent, we're never going to have the second tag again. I think this is more of a, let's see how it happens. I just went and bought my second tag the other day. I forgot about it. I thought, oh crap, I got to stop down there and get my second tag.
That's
I'm right in the same boat. I get it. But by the same token, to have those Sundays for the people that need them, it may not have a difference. It may not make a difference. And I've heard and seen studies from other states where it doesn't make a difference. But we're going to be cautious. That's what the Pennsylvania Game Commission has always done. They've always been very cautious about stuff.
Yep.
They don't want to have an over harvest for a year or two, then try to backpedal.
Right.
They'd rather have not enough harvested and then build into it as we go forward.
Yep.
So I'd encourage guys on that. Just hang in there and let's see what happens. So
as far as Hunter Nation goes, do they get involved in helping push these decisions?
Oh, absolutely.
That's
the biggest thing we do. I tell people whenever they're asking me about joining Hunter Nation or what Hunter Nation does. I'm not Ducks Unlimited. I'm not Pheasants Forever. I'm not the Rough Grouse Society. Any of those other organizations that are out putting habitat on game lands or doing, whatever they're doing. And I truly appreciate that type of work. I've done it myself in the past. I'm a member of a lot of those organizations, and I truly appreciate the work they do. What Hunter Nation is we are a hunter advocacy group. That's what we do. And when I'm talking about a hunter advocacy group, you can call a lobbyist or whatever you want to call it, but that's what I do. I go to Harrisburg and talk to legislators. I go to Harrisburg and I talk to people within the Game Commission or DCNR or other regulatory agencies to try and make them understand or help them understand what hunters want to see and what is beneficial to hunters. Now, again, I'm not going to claim that I speak for every hunter in Pennsylvania because I do not, and I completely understand that. I try to give a level-headed, both-sided approach to subjects. If there's something that we really believe in, such as Sunday hunting, I'm going to kind of tell them where we're at with Sunday hunting and why we should have it. I also provided, and I'll be the first to tell anybody, when I talk to legislators about Sunday hunting, I would provide them with the arguments against it, just so they had both sides of the issue, So that's what we do. We're an advocacy group. Our national logo and our people nationally like to call us the unified voice of the American hunter. I completely agree with that, because even though there's some issues we may disagree with each other on, at the end of the day, we're all about our hunting heritage and trying to make that continue. Whether that is the exact thing that you want to see as far as our game regulation goes, or I want to see, doesn't really matter. We're all about making sure that hunting continues in the country. So,
well, I know I joined because I kept seeing commercials with Uncle Ted on it, and if Uncle Ted's involved in it, because that man right there, he lives and breathes this stuff, and sometimes he gets a little out of hand, but the majority of the time he's dead on, and I mean the man knows what he's talking about.
He speaks from his heart.
Yes,
he really does. You may like or dislike what he's saying. Again, we all are allowed our own opinions, but the man speaks from his heart.
Yes.
So, and he's passionate about it. The only time I've ever talked to the guy, after the bill signing for Sunday hunting, it was last year on July 9th. I remember the day. And myself and a couple of the other guys that had been at the bill signing, we had stopped for lunch at a local tavern bar type thing. We're eating sandwiches and just kind of having a little relaxed time and talking with each other. And our CEO, Keith Mark, calls my phone. And I'm answering, like, "Hey, Keith, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, not much." He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm sitting here with the guys." I said, "We're having lunch, just kind of chilling after the bill signing." He said, "Well, can you put me on speakerphone?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." I just figured he wanted to tell everybody thanks. So I put my phone down. I said, "Hey guys," I put it on speakerphone. The next voice we heard was Ted Nugent. That was a pretty cool experience. And he talked for, 10 minutes. We had just a back and forth conversation amongst us. So that was pretty cool. And again, like Ted Nugent or not, doesn't really matter to me. That's your personal opinions. But the man is passionate about hunting, and he does love our hunting heritage.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And, I follow him a lot. Like I said, I mean, music, hunting, the whole night. To be honest with you, nobody in my family bow hunted. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was a deer hunter. He was the 2 weeks of the season for bucks.
Run with a rifle and kill a deer.
Yeah.
And back then we had
3 days of doe season. Yeah.
And then it became 3. And I've had people tell me, "Oh no, it was always 3." And I'm like, I can tell you right now, I started hunting in 1979. And for a few years, we had a 2-day doe season.
Yep.
And you prayed it got extended,
Yep. I can remember in all the years I've been hunting now of doe season being extended one time.
Yeah.
Because we had an ice storm.
Yep.
And that was it. It got extended for 1 day, and that was it. And
yep.
And that's, well, I'm trying to think. I started hunting in 81. So
yeah. Yep.
So I can remember.
And that was right towards the end of the 2-day doe season. Shortly after that, we went to the 3-day doe season. Yep.
And I remember you didn't get the choice to shoot. You were bow hunting. If you had a buck tag, you shot a buck. You didn't get the choice of, okay, hey, I got 3 doe tags here. I can shoot a doe.
Well, you remember back then. I mean, we got our buck. We got a deer tag.
A deer tag.
And when we got our doe license, which was county specific,
yep,
you used your buck tag. So if you went out in archery season and you shot a doe, that tag on your back tag went on that doe.
Yep. So guys got to understand. I mean, we come up when shooting a deer. You were 2 deer a year, and that maybe you were lucky.
Yeah.
Now, geez, we can kill upwards of 8 deer a year.
Yeah, at least.
And then I belong to that certified hunter program, so, geez, I'm out shooting deer in August,
That's great. I haven't done that certified hunter program yet. I just haven't done it. No reason. I think it's a great program, but I haven't gotten involved in it. But everybody I've talked to that does it, they're like, "Dan, you got to get on this."
Man, it's insane to be out there. I had lost my job back in August, and I just finished up the course for this, and What am I going to do? I got nothing to do. I'm applying for jobs. I'm going to go deer hunting. My buddy's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm going deer hunting. It's August. You can't deer hunt. Yeah, you can. I'm in the certified hunter program. I went out every day in the morning, shot a deer, took it to a local butcher shop. Either it was Espy's or it was out at Weimer's out in New Alexandria.
Right.
You know, and dropped them off for that hunter sharing the harvest.
Yep.
You know, I did that up until bow season started. So I had already killed 11 deer before then my season started and didn't have a single deer in the freezer. But
I was gonna circle back on the hunter sharing the harvest thing. You know, when we're talking about that, and that certified hunter is really helping with that to get more contributions, hunter sharing the harvest, to help the food insecure people with the way they do their contributions. That's one of the bills when you talk about what Hunter Nation does, right? I'm in Harrisburg. Randy Ferguson, the executive director or whatever his title is for Hunter Sharing the Harvest, had gotten a hold of me one day after I just left Harrisburg and asked me about it. There's a bill in the House that would provide a tax credit for butchers that participate in programs like Hunter Sharing the Harvest. So I've done advocacy on that for Randy's group. They're not Hunter Nation. They're not our, but if it has to do with hunting and making it better, that's what we're about. And like I said, I went in and I sat down and talked to people. They didn't understand even what was going on. I mean, they're in Harrisburg. Some people, as we all know, not everyone hunts. You know, we're 6% of the population in Pennsylvania. They didn't even have the slightest clue how it worked. Well, it just so happened last year I hadn't donated a deer to Hunter Sharing the Harvest for a couple of years. It had been a little bit. I went out, shot a nice big doe, put that one in the freezer. 2 days later, I had another one walk out. I shot her, fully intending that I was going to donate that deer. I went to the local butcher shop that takes them. And so I walked them through the entire process of how that worked. Mm-hmm. And they didn't understand how the process even worked. But because I had just done the process, I was able to actually explain it to them fully from the firsthand perspective of it.
Yep. That's why, I mean, those places I go to, Espy's and Weimer's, and I'm trying, can't remember what the other one was that I did. But they, you know, you go in, you tell them, hey, I have a deer in the truck, want to donate it. Somebody comes out, they get it, you fill out the paperwork, they hand you a slip off of that paperwork for your records, and they keep a slip that goes with the deer, and you're done.
Yep.
You know, and this certified hunter is a stepping stone for us to be able to use what they call the E-tag.
Right.
We were using this E-tag. I had as soon as you recovered your deer, you took a picture of it because your pictures geotag that deer, so they know that you know where you killed it. So now I go straight to my harvest report card while I'm standing there before I do anything else to that deer, and I punch in my harvest report card right then and there. The deer is tagged. I'm done. Put it in my truck, go to the butcher shop, drop it off. You know, and I know guys who had run into game wardens who knew nothing about this program that we're going on. So here you are. You know, you got your guys that are enforcing the law. They didn't know that this was going on. So, you know, kind of causing a conflict between the hunters and the game wardens. But once it all got straightened out and everybody knew what was going on, I mean, I think the program's great because you're helping these farmers, and some of these farms, I'm telling you, Dan, some of these farms that I were on was freaking insane with how many deer you were seeing. I hunted one farm for 7 days and seen nothing but bucks. I didn't see a single antlered deer to shoot. And then I talked to the guy later on, and he's like, oh, yeah, you should have come back after Christmas and muzzleloader season and hunted with us. He said, we got 11 bucks during flintlock season. I'm like, I didn't know I was allowed to come. He's like, oh. He said, once you came on the farm, he said, you were part of the family. You come anytime you want. So
that's great.
You know, you make friendships that way.
Oh, absolutely. And that was part of the Sunday hunting thing that people don't even understand. We work very closely with the Farm Bureau, and I've talked to a lot of farmers who maybe aren't in favor of the Sunday hunting stuff. And I own property. I'm like, well, you may not like it on your property. You can still tell people you can't hunt your property on Sunday, but now I can use my property on Sunday. But one of the things I've told them is we tried to to bridge that gap from whenever we were younger guys, right? Where I could start at my family farm and I could walk for miles and never see a poster.
Yep.
And nobody cared.
Yep.
You know, it was all about just come out and enjoy it and shoot a deer.
Yep.
We started to bridge that gap that had opened itself up to work with people. Like the Certified Hunter Program is one of the big steps in that to reintroduce that hunters and farmers have a connection, and we need to get that connection back together.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about the e-tagging stuff, there's another piece of legislation we're working on. That just passed out of the House a couple weeks ago to allow the Game Commission to fully use e-tags, where just the regular hunter out could use e-tags. Because a lot of people, I run into people all the time who don't understand how things work. They'll complain to me, I go to Maryland and I hunt in Maryland and they let me e-tag there. Our Game Commission is so behind because they won't let me do that. I get it. But the reason they don't let you do it is because they're not allowed to let you do it because of burdensome laws.
Right.
So things like that could move us forward to where other states are. Those legislative things are the things like I work on for Hunter Nation. You know, let's talk about this. Let's try and get this moving forward. And again, that's another one of those issues that people just don't understand. It's like, well, they'd do it if they could do it, but they're not allowed to do it. You know?
Well, hey, tomorrow is May 1st.
Uh-huh.
And May 1st, you're allowed to start applying for your elk
Yes.
license.
Yep.
And everybody that I keep telling this to, they're like, well, the new hunting license isn't out. You don't need the new hunting license.
Right.
You're applying on last year's hunting license. You're applying on your CID number is what you're applying on.
Right.
And we're getting 15 more bull tags this year.
Yep.
We got all new zones this year.
Yep.
And we're getting a whole new week added.
Yep.
And the out-of-state numbers have been backed off. So it's only one out-of-stater per, I forget, how was it stated?
It was 10%. So
okay.
No more than 10% of the tags can be allotted to an out-of-state, to non-residents, right? Which, okay, I get it. We were only running about 15, 16% anyhow.
Right.
So it's 2 or 3 more tags will be issued for residents. They can't go over that for the non-residents, which I get it. Doesn't really matter to me. Hunting opportunity. If it had been like 50% of the tags were going non-resident, 50 were going resident, I'd have probably been like everybody else, raising a little heck over it.
Yeah.
But it's never been more than like 16 or 17%. So when we back it back to 10%, we're talking a couple tags that can't go to residents, which, again, I'm not going to fight over something like that. I think that's a good – it's okay. It's not going to harm anybody.
Right.
I'm interested to see how the process goes. I've been applying since they started the process. So I'm one of those old guys that used to walk in and say, either sex, any zone.
Yep.
So cover me everywhere, But of course, back then we only had the rifle season. It was only for 7 or 6 days. I guess 7 days. I'm sorry. No, I guess it was 6 days because it all started on Monday. So it was Monday through Saturday.
Yep.
So I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to work this year, because now I got to start like picking things and trying to figure out all the picks I want.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out today. I was sitting there looking, and I'm trying to find a map that has the new zones with an overlay
compared to the old zones.
With an overlay of the old zones.
Uh-huh.
That way I can figure, because I can't figure out where the hell I'm applying for now.
Yep.
Yep.
And I knew the old zones pretty well. I knew where they ran at. Now I got to try and figure out where these new zones are at, right?
Because I applied for, I believe it was 2 and 12. Those were the only 2 I ever applied for. Now I got to figure out, okay, where is 2?
Yeah.
And where did 12 go? Because
it is 2 now, 4 and 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So I wanted to actually have Jeremy on before all this happened, but he's busy with everything that's going on,
Right.
And I did get to talk to him a little bit during the archery elk season when I was up there when Greg Ritz was in town and he killed that awesome bull that he got. But I was over there and hanging out with Greg and Jeremy, and we had talked a little bit then, so he kind of run me through everything. I kind of got a little early info about what was going on and what was going to happen. And, that guy right there, I'll tell you what, him and his crew have done one hell of a job with this whole elk thing, and I've been applying since you were allowed. I'm pretty sure I got the max number of points, and it is what it is. If I draw one, I draw one. If I don't, I enjoy going up there. I just spent 4 days up there and getting to see these bulls already that are starting to grow antlers now. I mean, Jesus, some of these things come September, they're going to be massive this year. I mean, they're just hogs.
It's funny, Robbie, you talk about if I get one, I get one, right? And I truly hope I do someday. I've been involved in a couple do-it-yourself hunts with family and friends, right? And it's always been cows, and we've had a blast on it. But I've had guys tell me, like, I have the maximum number. It's BS. I can't get drawn. And I look at them and I laugh, and I said, I have the maximum numbers too. Yeah. How many hundreds of thousands of us have the maximum number?
Right.
And then they stop, and you can see the look on their face. They just calculated, and they're like, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
But then I have a buddy of mine 3 years ago, I think it was 3 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I suppose. His son, out of the blue, says, I'm going to apply for an elk tag. He gets a zone 12 bull tag. And I'm like, how does that happen? One chance he just got lucky. I mean, it's just how you guys got to remember. There's no manipulation. It's just luck of the draw.
I aired that episode with Greg Ritz, and afterwards I got a bunch of private messages on why would I have that guy on the podcast? How much extra did he pay? Blah blah blah. I said, you sit back and think about what you're saying. This is like playing the lottery. The elk license is a lottery. There's nobody looking through there with X-ray vision to see if there's a $200 check in there to get a freaking elk tag. Come on.
Right.
People need to stop with all that crap,
All the conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like whether we landed on the moon or not back in 1968, right?
Exactly.
Like, do you think if they were manipulating the system in either cases, that all those people that are involved in manipulating the system could keep their mouth shut for this long?
Yeah.
There's no grand conspiracy. It's all luck of the draw.
Yes, exactly. But, this guy comes into our state. He's originally from Maryland, so he knew all about the elk in PA, and he comes here and he kills this massive bull with a good friend of mine, Brian Hale from Elk County Outfitters. Those guys spend all year up there living with the elk. They know where these things are at. And, I'm telling you right now, if I draw a bull tag, I'm hiring Brian, even though we're friends, because there's no way. I know if I call any of my buddies, hey, I just killed a bull elk, come help me, they're all going to laugh at me. Or they're going to say, how much meat am I getting out of this? Well, everybody's going to get meat out of it no matter what. But, they're not going to come help me get that thing out of there. So, I'll pay Brian and his guys to do it, and I'll just have the fun of pulling the trigger, and then I get to mount it afterwards,
Yeah, exactly.
But, who was it, your granddaughter?
No. Who got drawn was my sister-in-law has gotten drawn twice back in 2009 and 2013, around there. Then my dad got drawn 2 years ago, and then my niece got drawn for last year.
Okay.
Again, complete luck of the draw things. Nobody is manipulating any systems. The thing with us is we all apply.
Right.
So when we have all those numbers in, the chances of one of us getting drawn, again, very, very slight, but we have a lot of chances in there. So we've been fortunate over the years to have that happen for us. And it's been a lot of fun for our family. Those are some of those hunts, like my dad's hunt. I have 4 brothers. My one brother doesn't hunt, but on my dad's hunt, my 3 brothers that still hunt and myself were able to go with my dad on a hunt. And the way things are anymore, we used to all get together opening day, and hunt together all the time. We spread across the Commonwealth, so now getting together to hunt is kind of a treasure for us. It's something that doesn't happen. But for my dad's elk hunt for a week, we hunted every day he could go physically. He was 81 at the time, almost 82. But that was that my brothers and I all got to hunt with our dad again. So that was a cool experience, and we did it ourselves. I mean, we did it all ourselves. Nephews that were there, and my one sister-in-law was there. So we had a good time. Family bonding again, back to what we all did as younger people.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So, what has Hunter Nation got coming up?
So we got some fundraising stuff we're working on because we obviously, like any other group, we need to raise money to keep going what we're doing. Our big thing we have going on coming up here on June 26th. It's a Friday here in Huntington County. I'm fortunate to belong to a really nice sportsman's club here that does a really good trap, skeet, sporting clay shoot. They've actually been nationally held at national competitions and qualifying competitions for national things or state events. It's called Shennecoy. We're having a sporting clay shoot there on June 26th. Going to be a blast. I know you put it up for me, and I appreciate it if people look at it. You go to our hunternation.org/Pennsylvania, and it'll take you right to it. Again, that's hunternation.org/Pennsylvania. Go on there. We have the flyer on there. We have the way to register. It's going to be a great event. Right now, one of our guests for it is the state director for Alabama and Georgia. His name is Kelby Senor. Kelby has been on the U.S. shooting team before. He's been a top 100 finisher in the world for whatever those competitions are. He's an instructor. He's a Krieghoff shooting guy. Going to be a good time with him there. People that need help, we're going to say, hey, Kelby, go give him some pointers, So that's going to be fun. We're putting together right now like a banquet to celebrate the first year anniversary of Act 36, which is Sunday hunting. So those are what we got coming up here in the spring or in the summer here. And then, of course, we're going to kick off the fall. I have upland bird hunts that we do at my local place down here, Trophy Mountain. And those are always a blast. We did probably 15, 20 of those last year. Once people got there and they did it, they just couldn't believe how fun it was. I mean, we're putting out 15 chuckers, 10 pheasants. We got dogs out with guides, and we go up. We get together in the morning for coffee, donuts, whatever we're having in the morning. Go shoot some clays. Everyone bust on dam because that seems to be the common goal. And then we send the hunters out to the field. They shoot their birds, come back down. We have a nice lunch. The birds get cleaned. A couple of drinks, whether they're adult beverages or soda pops, smoke a cigar and hang out and fellowship and talk about hunting and what's important to us. So that's the things we're doing. I mean, but like I say, that sporting clay shoot coming up in June, that's going to be fun. That really is going to be a fun time. So
yeah, I'm going to try to, like I said, I'm starting a new job, but hopefully I'll be able to be off that weekend and try to get there to make it.
That would be great. I'd love to see you. So,
and I believe I got it. Well, I'm not sure, but I don't know if my membership needs renewed. Maybe not yet. I can't remember when I joined.
We're always looking for people to rejoin.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I need to start promoting it a little more on there because I try to promote you guys. I try to promote the Pennsylvania Federation of Sportsmen, the Black Powder Federation of Muzzleloader Shooters, or whatever it's called. I want to help those kind of organizations. I'm not worried about Ducks Unlimited. I'm not worried about the Rocky Mountain Elk Federation. I'm worried about the federations that are here in Pennsylvania, the ones that do for Pennsylvania.
Right.
And we
all work together, like the Federation of Sportsmen. The guys there.
Yep.
We're friends. We talk pretty much every day, some of us, know. So, we're all working together to better hunting in Pennsylvania,
Yep. And that's the reason, like, I'm a part of your organization. I'm a part of them. That's what I want. I want, I want groups that want to help the hunters. I don't want this back and forth bickering. that I see, that show we just did at Chico Outdoors, that every year I got that one guy that's there, and I'm not going to mention the name of the organization, but he wants to come down. He wants to be on the podcast every year. I want to be on the podcast. It'll be a good episode. It will not be a good episode because it'll end up in a big argument. Because,
right.
We can't see eye to eye. We can't stand here and have a conversation with each other and it not end up into an argument. You calling me
right.
names, and you know what I mean? It's just, it wouldn't make a good podcast. So
right.
I just won't go down that road with this guy. And, it's a shame that we have this.
I agree.
I feel the same way when you look at Facebook and there's guys putting a kid down for shooting a spike. Hey,
yeah.
It's that kid's tag. If
right.
that kid was, if adults were allowed to shoot spikes and it makes you happy that you filled that tag with that spike, that's your trophy. Who cares?
Yep.
Don't degrade somebody because they shot something that they were happy with.
Right.
I didn't start shooting bucks like that or that other one behind me my first year hunting. Trust me.
None of us did. And a couple. I mean, my one younger brother, he shot probably a 140 class 8-point his first year.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. What do you do after that?
Just walked out to him.
Yeah. But I mean, now I'm at that age. Hey, I've shot deer. I want meat in the freezer. I'm shooting does.
Right.
Have I eaten buck tags? Yes. The last 3 years, I've shot really nice bucks the last 3 years.
Right.
But that's on my deer lease.
Yep.
That's because I've watched these deer grow. I've put the time and the effort into disciplining myself not to shoot these bucks when they're
right.
2, 3 years old. I'm letting them get 5, 6, 7.
Right.
The neighbors aren't so cooperative. They shot a few bucks last year that I wish they would have left them go because they really had some potential to be 160, 170 class whitetails. And,
right.
Is that what it's all about? No. I mean, like I said,
it's whatever each person wants to put into it.
Exactly. I get excited when a doe walks out and I'm hunting with the flintlock or the bow. I mean, I get the shakes just like it was the very first deer.
Yep.
And when I lose that excitement, I hope I'm in a casket because
I understand.
That's my joy out of this whole sport, and introducing new people and trying to teach them what I've learned from my mistakes.
Yep.
So, but yeah, what else you got going on there? I mean, any works of any new news as far as?
There's some stuff legislatively going on that we're kind of working on that we'd like to see happen. Few things may need a little bit of tweaking, so we'll see how they work out. Hunter trapper education in school would be one of those big examples.
Yes.
Really good program. I don't know that it's where it needs to be, but again, that's the process. It's just starting right now. I think that could be a very good process for us to get the Game Commission involved in how do we get hunter education in schools. So that's definitely a plus. There's just some legislative stuff going on. I know, and I've been watching it on Facebook, and everyone's all mad about it, but I don't know that everyone completely understands what's going on with it. And I'm still trying to wade through it. There's a bill put out by Senator Rothman about come home to hunt, where they want to reduce the cost of tags for non-residents. If you're from Pennsylvania originally and you're coming back to Pennsylvania to hunt. Again, not sure all the particulars on it are exactly where they need to be, but the idea of the bill is to encourage people to come to Pennsylvania to hunt.
Right.
And that's where we're at with that bill. Again, a lot of stuff we can do with it. I think it's a good idea. I think there's some changes that need to maybe be looked at or how it's going to happen. But, everyone immediately jumps on it and doesn't like it without thinking it through or saying, well, I like the idea, but maybe you should do this. Those are those are the things that people need to hear, and not the arguing and the fight, we hate it type of attitude. Understand why it's there, understand what it's about, and what the benefits of it may be.
Right. I personally would like to see it on paper. I'm the kind of person, I got to sit down. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear somebody talking about it on the news.
Right.
I want to see this written on paper, and I want to read it myself so that I can comprehend what's going on. I'm trying to think. Wisconsin, I believe it's $85 your first year for an out-of-stater to go there.
Right.
Okay? That gives you a deer tag. I believe that's how it works in Wisconsin, is a deer tag. You get that tag. Now, if I want to go back to Wisconsin the next year, now I got to pay the $250.
Right.
That's fine. You got me there the first time on $85.
Right.
I will pay the $250 to go back again.
Right.
Because I know the caliber of deer that are in Wisconsin, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The same with Iowa. Iowa's a draw.
Right.
I've applied. I haven't got drawn to go to Iowa.
Right.
I'm trying to think. There's other.
Well, the come
states.
home to hunt bill. The come home to hunt bill that has currently been introduced again. I'm still waiting through where it's at and what it may or may not say, but it's modeled after Tennessee, who has a very similar bill and has had it for a while, or salt law, and Montana has one also. So it's not an unheard of concept,
right,
to make a reduced license for people who are native to a state,
Yeah, they, it's. I'm trying to think. Tennessee, you don't have to apply there. You can get your tags over the.
Tennessee's a straight draw state, or a straight just over the counter state.
Yeah, that because I got a buddy of mine that lives there, and he was saying, "Oh, you need to come down here." He said, "You want to kill a buck in velvet? You need to come down."
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I wish I could hunt all 50 states every year.
Yep.
I need some of that Donald Trump money to do that. I can't do that on my own,
How about it?
But hey, let everybody know how they can join, where they can find Hunter Nation and everything. And
yep.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. It's hunternation.org. Again, that's hunternation.org. If you want to go to the Pennsylvania site of our Hunter Nation page, it's hunternation.org/Pennsylvania. Takes you right to what's going on in Pennsylvania. They try to keep it updated with the stuff we're doing in Pennsylvania. One of the big things we also work on, and there's two bills, one in the House, one in the Senate. Companion bills, exact same bill. It's called the Sportsman Voter Registration Act. And we're working on that because we want to see, again, where we started from was because sportsmen don't vote. So we want to try and get as many sportsmen registered to vote in Pennsylvania as we can. Not saying which way you want to vote. That's up to you. But please get out there and vote for the people that have your same values,
Yep.
Whether, doesn't matter to me what party they are. Just get out and vote,
Yep.
Again, that's hunternation.org/Pennsylvania.
And then you guys got Facebook and all that stuff?
Yep, we have our national page is just Hunter Nation. But if you want to join our Pennsylvania page, it's Hunter Nation Pennsylvania. There's a couple questions we ask just to keep the bots off.
Yep.
Answer those. We'll review it. Generally, as long as somebody answers the questions, it's an automatic in on our Facebook page.
Yep.
And that keeps you up to date, again, what we're doing in Pennsylvania. So.
Yep. Well, Dan, hey, I appreciate you being on here. I'm going to run through a sponsors list here real quick, and then we will wrap this thing up. And let's listen to these sponsors.
I appreciate it.
Be sure to check out these fine sponsors. Back 40 Seed Company, Gearhead Archery for Get Genetics, Trapline Beard Oil, Weeby Knives, Wreck Broadheads, Coon Creek Trappers, Rack and Stick, Scout Tech, XL Construction Renovations, LLC, Warhead Arrow Company, Helltown Arms, LLC, Coyote Cords, Bustin' Fur Audio, Black River Shot Company, Latrobe Lawn and Landscape, LLC, Bompiani Spine and Sports, Steve Rocco Media, Saltstone Hunting USA, Apex Predator Tree Stands. Watch us on Carbon TV. Listen to us every Wednesday on the Outdoor Call Radio. If you're looking for the Keystone Experience apparel, check out the Hat Shack. Follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and remember, never apologize for being a hunter.